Hey folks, we're going to do something a little bit different today, but first I want to say two things. One, I've been able to tag along with some very kind guildies during their Maraudon or Blackrock Depths farms, so I'm not sure how much questing we'll be able to do on Official Classic on the rest of the way up. We've done quite a lot, and everyone wants me to hit 60, so I'll see how quickly I can get there. If we're just grinding away and getting power leveled, I'm not sure there's much of an episode in that, unless we're helping out somehow. Like how we did in pet pulls for the mages in Scarlet Monastery, and then use frost traps, a goblin dragon gun, or Bladestorms to add a bit more damage. We started doing the Classic Hunter series on Official Classic, but I've got some footage from Kronos I never quite got around to using. Before I started doing this whole thing on the regular, growing the channel and all that, I was more focused on putting on a show, and so new episodes came pretty rarely and with a much different style of editing. This is one of those episodes I never quite released. We'll be headed through Zul'Farrak today on Kronos, and my commentary will be in retrospect. This was a long time ago, before I raided through Naxxramas and stuff, so my technique is bound to be a bit off, and I'll commentate on what mistakes I made. We'll see how the behavior on Official Classic differs from behavior on this old private server too. Secondly, some of my friends have reported randomly being unsubscribed from me. Apparently YouTube is doing that to some people for some reason. I don't know why or how that happens, but just check down below, just in case. Thanks. Anyway, it's important to look to the future, but if you forget the past, you're bound to repeat some mistakes. So without further ado, let's get to it. Enjoy. Alright, so here we are in the build-up part of the old style of editing, flying on to Gadgetzan, with the dramatic music playing in the background, building us up. And of course, this soundtrack is the Emperor Battle for Dune soundtrack for the Atreides, composed by Frank Klepacki, the awesome, legendary Frank Klepacki, who is responsible for quite a lot of memorable tracks and a lot of great games. Shout out to him. And it seems that our group composition at the moment is Warrior, Paladin, Rogue, Mage, Hunter, which is very close to my favorite group composition. If only we had a priest instead of a paladin. But you know what? I won't hold that against them. Paladins are still respectable. They're mana efficient, even if they don't really have any multi-target heals. And as long as we let our tank hold the aggros, we'll be just fine. Yeah, paladins for some reason have only single target heals. It's kind of funny. I mean, not unless you count, say, the blessing or the judgment that makes melee attackers or whatever heal when you hit something, but that's kind of, I'm not really sure that counts. Anyway, our group is still massing up here, and that is a broken tooth I've got right there. Rapture, the original, or well, unless you count the Rapture from Nostarius, then he's the original. This is him again on the new server, Kronos, because this was not shut down. Nostarius, however, was. Alright, and we're about to start now. We do have a mage here who's going ahead with the polymorphs, and there I go marking everything up. Like a scrub. You don't want to mark things up in dungeons, alright? That just makes it easier for the mages to have an excuse to CC things. Instead, you mark nothing up and you pull aggro on everything in order to be as inconvenient as possible for your group. That way, you can clear in a much more fun way by pulling everything and CCing nothing. But well, I'll let that mistake slide because, well, it's not like I can do anything about it now. We're in the future. This is in the past. I suppose having a skull target is pretty convenient because it does help our tank out, and especially if we do have a paladin healer, because again, like I said, they can only heal in single targets pretty much. So I'm sure that certainly helps our healer out, at least, having a primary target for the tank to latch onto. And yes, I am clicking my weapons on the sidebar. Grimlock's Charge, the Ravager. I never quite found a keybind for it at this juncture. I do later, but at this time I'm still clicking it because I'm not quite sure what to use for it yet. But as you may know from my keybinds tutorial, it's more about committing things to muscle memory. So I was looking for a comfortable key. I decided eventually on V and Shift V. V for the ranged weapon, Shift V for the Ravager. But that did take a little while to figure out. The blue is not being polymorphed, and that's alright. Because I can Bladestorm it instead. And here I go with the Bladestorm in single target. Now, the Bladestorm on Official Classic is awesome for its own reason. It has some very neat, very nice, unique behavior. But here on Kronos, this is where it all started, and this is Well, the Ravager here is completely broken. You can actually do other stuff during Bladestorm, so you can channel Volley, pop a Sapper Charge, feign Death and Explosive Trap, you can spam Raptor Strike or Auto Attack. You can do pretty much anything during Bladestorm except move. So, it's a fantastic weapon here, although I do believe that you should only use it against, say, 3 targets. Having it against 2 or 1 target, 2 targets or 1, is probably suboptimal, even considering its extremely unique and awesome behavior. But it's whatever. We're heading down a way that is much more densely populated with mobs than the linear pathway we've been going down so far. And once I'm done drinking, I pop back up and attempt to go back in for the Bladestorm, but these mobs are kind of spread out. And of course, I also forget to multi-shot, which is not very good, not what you want to do when you're using a Ravager build. Of course, this is right after when I actually started using it, so I'm still learning my way around it, but ideally, if there are 3 or less targets, you stay at range, but if there are 3 or more, yes, there is a little bit of an overlap, then you weave out for the multi-shot. And this is what offsets bad RNG, because if you get bad RNG, then what you've done so far amounts to more melee weaving, and that's still a good technique. It can still pull plenty of DPS for you. If you do get good RNG though, you've been multi-shooting the entire time. You keep it on cooldown, and that certainly helps your DPS out. I do not get a proc here, but I do see the opportunity for the dragon gun, which I start using for a few there. And I also forget that I had my carrot on a stick equipped, so I gotta equip my pet bomb, which I did make here on Kronos as soon as possible. Here we go, we finally got a Bladestorm, but there is a target over there that I could range while using Bladestorm. I think that was not in the dead zone. But remember, the Kronos is the Ravager on Kronos is totally broken. So you can ranged attack while Bladestorming. It's absolutely hilarious. There are 3 targets here, and I think that might have been a 3-target multi-shot, a bridge across all 3. If that was, I certainly didn't intend to do that. I wasn't so aware of the whole multi-shot mechanics at this time. But if I did do that, 404 troll not found. If I did do that, that would be that worked out pretty well. That troll melted from half HP, pretty quick. There are 3 targets here, so I'd like to go back in and make use of the AoEs. I just popped a pet bomb, so that's a 30-minute cooldown. But let's get some more in here if we can. That one's ranged, so probably not a good idea to pull. But right here would have been an ideal time for a 3-target multi-shot. Unfortunately, I was unaware of the mechanics at the time. So, here, again, a 3-target multi-shot could have happened right here. But eventually they do get close enough that I do it anyway. I was aiming at the center target there, so that was not a good idea. What is a good idea, though, is going in for the Bladestorm at this time, which actually works out. Since there are 3 targets here and it got procced immediately. There we go. Now this area up ahead, I believe there might have been a rare up ahead, so we'll see about killing him. And yes, I just did pull my melee weapon off the bar right there by clicking it. But for some reason, I do have my bars locked here. I know that. I remember that. But for some reason, you could still pull stuff off of it. Maybe that's the private server thing. Maybe not. In any case, not using a keybind is extremely inconvenient. Oh, and it looks like we're about to get a large pull here. Yep. But that's fine. It's more Bladestorm fodder, assuming we get a proc. Gotta bring them in close, but while they're out there, we can get a good multi-shot off. The mage Frost Nova'd them, and that's not a good time to go in, but I did have deterrence up, so I figure we might as well anyway. Now, if we could just get a proc, we'd have fun. If we don't get a proc, right now would be the time to, say, pop that sapper charge I got on my bars right under the Ravager there. I really do need to drink up, though. I don't have any mana for, say, the explosive trap, which also would be good to drop around this time. If you get bad RNG, you need to pop something like the explosive trap. Unfortunately, I used Feign Death to drink, not to drop the explosive trap, so I can't use it now. And by now, there are too few targets to Bladestorm on, so I have to retreat and go into the ranged. No procs, bad RNG. But that's why you keep multi-shot on cooldown whenever you're doing the Ravager thing. Because if you keep multi-shot on cooldown, then, well, you're not gimping yourself so much by being in melee. You're going in for the Raptor Strike, you're staying out for the auto multi-auto combo, and you still do pretty fair DPS. There's only one target left here. But here I go in melee anyway. Because I have not gotten a proc, and, well, that hacks me right off. That steams my clams. They're all dead now, though, so we can drink up in peace without losing any DPS. Ideally, you don't have to drink at all. Because, remember, we can always auto-shot and auto-attack. Even if, we could still melee weave, basically. You know? Without Raptor Strike, without any special shots. It's a different kind of melee weaving. I've got my, my Ravager equipped once again. But there are only 2 targets here. And I have not put multi-shot on cooldown. Now I can go ahead and use it, but it's a little bit late for that. It's the little things. You gotta notice the little things. At least I'm still quick with marking stuff up. I did do a little bit of raiding on Nostalrius before we came here. Molten Core, Blackwing Lair, that's hardly much to be qualified, but it is a little something, I suppose. It's enough to know how to mark stuff up very quickly. Because you gotta be pulling all the time. Right there, when the scarab passed by, would have been the ideal time to do a 3-target multi-shot. But I think I only hit 2 there. I think I only hit 2. I'm getting lucky with Crusader procs, but 0 Bladestorms, which is, it's too bad. Bladestorms are pretty overpowered here. But, you know, that is one unique advantage we have on Official Classic. The Bladestorms are much, much more common. Not necessarily because the original proc chance is any higher, but because Bladestorms can proc more Bladestorms. So if you got a ton of targets on you, then you can get lucky streaks very easily. And indeed, we do on Official Classic plenty of times. There we go. We got one bit of good luck right here. A 3-target multi-shot, or sorry, a 3-target Bladestorm, and some Goblin Dragon gunning. Now, I'm not sure if that rare is around here. There might be a rare spawned in. I have not looked, apparently. I don't think there is, though. So, we're gonna head off this way. And there I go, pulling it off my bars again. That's why you use a keybind. Nice, a 1022 aim shot crit. That always feels good, man. Right here, we're heading down towards the first boss that we're gonna kill. There's one guy among all the scarabs, and a whole bunch of scarabs that we could pull just for fun. We do have a mage, so we can go ahead and do stuff with the mage. Do AoE stuff with the mage. And I'm still using Dragon Breath Chili here. That's at least one thing I figured out early. But I think it is removed on drinking, unlike an Official Classic. See? Right there. And there I go blabbing about it. But we got our Thaka the Martyr fellow here. He becomes invincible to, what was it, physical damage? I think it's physical damage when he's close to death. And by then only magic attacks will do it. So by then you want to use your Serpent Sting or something, but our mage can handle it, I'm sure. Our mage is fine. Now here are a whole bunch of scarabs. But are we going to pull them? I think we might. We might go ahead and pull them. Either before or after the boss over here. Now we're just chatting for the moment. Yep, there we go. We're gonna get a whole bunch of scarabs here, and this is a neat little AoE highlight. I don't believe I get a Ravager proc, but check out how close to death I get right here. There's a sapper charge, and I think I go down to like 50 HP before I get that heal. So that was pretty close, but also pretty fun. Nothing ventured, nothing gained, as they say. You gotta trust your healer. They've got it handled. They've got you covered. I love popping those sappers. There are never enough of them to go around. But there will be. Once we hit 60 anyway. And I think we're just about done with the scarabs, just as soon as we finish off the ones that we've got. Just about. because Antu'sul is coming up next, and he's well, he's kind of a funny boss. He spawns quite a lot of that, so our mage is gonna have fun, or we're gonna have fun. We might have fun. The mage might have fun, or the mage might get one shot, because the ads also hit pretty hard. And as cool a tank as Flag is, even he can't save someone if they pull aggro and get instantly killed. You know, there's no window for error there. How about all them scarab corpses though? That's so much fun, AoEing stuff down. If only they were elite. If only they were elite, we would be dead. But nope, they're just a whole bunch of non-elites, so we can pull more of them at least, and we can have more fun with them. Yes, the boss summons quite a few basilisks, and some elite, some non-elite, and we did get a Bladestorm here, so Flag is well, he ought to pull them into the Bladestorm. He's a great tank, but I think even he at the time was new to the whole Bladestorm subject, so it's a while before we actually get down the method to the madness. The method to the madness, that is Ravagering. Oh yeah, I've got that little Raziya the Ravager name tag up at the top left, but that was that was actually Flag's idea. After I started using it, he was like, you know what, you are the Raziya the Ravager, and ever since then it's been my my moniker, my pseudonym, my my thingy. Yes, my thingy. I think that we just kill this one more ad before we go ahead and start on the boss. And actually, come to think of it, I think the mage does get one shot here. And not on these mobs. No, I don't think on these mobs right here, but on the mobs after that. And right here, I do something absolutely stupid. This is not what you want to be doing when you have rapid fire. Even if you have rapid fire and you're using aim shot, don't go and spam. Don't try and let your aim shot go through if you got mobs on you. That will just stall you for time. Switch to auto shot and multi shot only. And here we go. There go the basilisks. Flag was unable to do anything about that. The mage was instantly one shot. I'm so sorry, but it's also really funny. Now right here, I use a Bladestorm and a Dragon Gun, and this is pretty sick. You cannot dodge or parry during Dragon Gun, but you can during Bladestorm by itself. So that's pretty cool. I'm going to switch back to my ranged weapon here, and you know what? I've got a landmine. I can drop it right here. And there's something neat about the landmines on Kronos. Their detonation ability is basically a single target spell that cleaves, and they use it on everything. So the landmine thinks that every single target that is in its range, it needs to use its AoE attack on. So the more mobs that you have there, the more damage you can do that to instantly blow everything up. So it'll do twice as much damage as it should, as long as you have 2 targets, 3 times if there are 3, and so on and so forth. Assuming it actually goes off. I don't remember ever seeing it go off here. Maybe I missed it. Or, wait, it's right there. So, if Flag can just bring it over a little bit more. Does it go off? I think it does. But only over on 1 target. Maybe 2. It's really funny how some things are scripted, but you could say that about Official Classic too. Feign Death, anyone? you could make fun of private servers all you want, but at least they got Feign Death right. At least Kronos did. They you can Feign Death. It can be resisted, and it can also work properly, and you can do stuff with it. On Light's Hope, it worked every single time. There was no chance to resist Feign Death on Light's Hope, so we hunters used it after raid bosses all the time, just so that we could just chill in a corner and not be dead like the rest of the scrubs. Save on consumables, have a lot of fun. That's why Naxxramas was fun for us and not for everyone else, because everyone else, you know, when we're progressing through those bosses, if they, you know, they're gonna die plenty of times. We hunters, we could just Feign Death. Works every time. Sit in the corner, share some huntering stories with each other, and wait for the rest of the raid to come back. Now here we're about to go into a long grind with a whole bunch of zombies. And there's a pretty cool chain of Bladestorms that happens right here. Soon, very soon. but I'll comment on it when we get to it. Rapture I'm forgetting to send in, but I still do that. I still forget to send my pet in on a few fights. That's something I never quite learned to do. There is quite a lot to keep track of. There are 3 targets here, so I can try for the Bladestorm. Multi-shot is almost off cooldown, but I do not move out to use it. I've at least marked up the targets. I have not forgotten to do that. Now I can move out and multi-shot and go back in. So I am figuring it out at this time. I'm still figuring it out. And as there are more graves to pull, we have more zombies to kill. Our mage is totally but he's drinking up. He's fine. And when he's back and ready, we'll be sure to AoE some more. Flag just keeps getting more and more graves, and the chain pulling in here is well, it's a lot of fun to just keep chain pulling these graves. The zombies don't really do anything outside auto attack, to my recollection, and they do happen to drop some good stuff. You know, they've got their random grays that they could drop, and maybe they drop some greens too. But the graves themselves, they also have some grays in them, and that's it's nice for the mages trying to farm this place. Have you heard that Zul'Farrak is actually a really great farming location for 60 mages on Official Classic? Yep. They go around and they let all the zombies out, and then they evade them, and some of them clip into the wall. It's well, it's funny. It's just funny. We're drinking up here, but I think right here is the funny AoE part. We equip the Ravager, and here we go trying for the Bladestorm proc. We had to try for it. I don't get one until now, and luckily I did get an explosive trap off too. I've also popped a sapper, and that's always fun. We got yet another proc, so I'm going to use my dragon gun to burn a whole bunch of these down while I'm also Bladestorming. The Bladestorm has dropped off once again, and it is also procced once again, so that was an insane little chain of AoE. That was mostly RNG. The explosive trap and sapper charge certainly help, but the lucky Bladestorms, that sort of AoE is the sort of thing you see all the time on Official Classic, just because Bladestorms can proc more Bladestorms. Here on Kronos, you can only proc it through attacks of various sorts. You know, attacks other than Bladestorm, Raptor Strike, Wing Clip, that kind of thing. So that sort of thing is much rarer here. But that's why I like it on Official Classic even more. You can't use stuff during Bladestorm, so you do need to plan around it. You know, before a Bladestorm, you've got to make sure that you pop your explosive trap, put it on cooldown, put multi-shot on cooldown. But during Bladestorm, you got to be watching your cooldowns and make sure that you can take advantage of them after Bladestorm ends, assuming Bladestorm ends. If it doesn't end at a good time, then you can't take advantage of that explosive trap, or the sapper charge, or whatever else you might want to pop. There's a lot to go on about with the whole Bladestorm technique. There's only one target here, so I should probably step out, but I do like to smack away at things. You guys know that. Here I'm not doing it on purpose, though. I'm just kind of, well, I'm green, is what I am. All the graves over here are just about cleared out. But we've got plenty more to clear out here. This is a very grind-heavy area of the instance. Or grind-heavy area, I mean. Did I say grind-heavy? Or, sorry, grind area heavy? Maybe not, maybe not. Anyway, this boss over here, maybe on Kronos all the graves got up or something weird happened when you pull the boss without all these graves being down. I don't know. It was a long time ago, and the private servers have weird stuff going on. But in the case that was the case, then we do actually need to do this. We probably just decided to grind though, because we've got a mage here, we got me. We might as well go ahead and chain pull everything. Although maybe our mage could have done a larger AoE pull. I know that we could have. I never got it on camera, but I do remember distinctly that I did another run after this, where I actually tanked it. And we had, whatchamacallit? What do we have? Oh yeah, we did like a 30 zombie pull. I popped deterrents and used Bladestorm, and that was, well, that was that. Because you can dodge and parry during Bladestorm, and so deterrence actually works during Bladestorm, and that was pretty nuts, pretty insane. I wonder if I have a sunken temple that I tanked on camera. I might. I need to go digging through the old files, but either way, I do know that I do have sunken temple. We do have sunken temple, and that was a lot of fun because I remember I figured out the landmine glitch there, where you could drop it, and it would deal extra damage depending on how many targets you've pulled. So, by then that was a lot of fun. But then in Blackrock Depths, oh man, I've got to show you guys that run later. For now, this is Zul'Farrak, and we're still grinding away here. Of course, drinking up between. Our mage is thirsty, so I'm also thirsty. And it's too bad that Dragon Breath Chili is removed with the drinking, because, well, I like to drink. I like to keep my mana at the fulls, so that I can do more explosive traps. The explosive trap in Official Classic is pretty reliable. You know, it leaves the area on the ground where you can drag stuff into that'll deal damage. I think on some private servers it was actually a debuff that it applied instantly after causing the explosive effect, so certainly less convenient if you're, say, doing an AoE farm or something. Less convenient. Because it's much easier to drag stuff into a zone than it is to get it all into the trap all at once. The number of graves is going down. We've dealt with about half of them, maybe 2/3, probably more around half. And we're still chain pulling away. It's a pretty good pace, but we could probably pull a few more, because our paladin seems to be very good on the manas. We are too. With Blessing of Wisdom, I never really figured out how to optimize my mana usage with Blessing of Wisdom until later. I mean, you've seen how we can do it on Official Classic. I've had a paladin before in several runs that we've done on Official Classic, but back here, you know, I'm still drinking away and not really paying too much attention to how my mana regenerates. With Wisdom and proper mana regeneration use, you can basically never drink. You guys know that. I mean, we've been through episode 17, we've been through episode 23. Those were both very hard grinds. So, I mean, not difficult kind of hard, but going hard on the grind, you know what I mean? So, that was a nice aim shot crit. Not over 1,000, but certainly something worth checking out. And I think I'm rolling with the Master Hunter's bow at this time. No skull-splitting crossbow. So, it's pretty good for the weapon. The gun is better for MM, but I didn't really feel like switching away from the bow. A sniper rifle also would have been a better option. The Master Hunter's gun is an excuse to transition to the sniper rifle. So if you do plan to take a sniper rifle at level 39, then I certainly recommend the Master Hunter's gun. Let's bring these two onto me, because that one, we don't want him on our priest. And here we go, we got a 2-target Bladestorm, huzzah. That one's far away, so I do remember to actually use my auto shot that time. I don't think it really meant anything since it was very close to death, but at least I fired it out. I remembered. That's what it's about. It's about performing the technique that we need to perform. But for now, it's time to drink up once again. I could send my cat in if I remember to do so. But nope, I'm just gonna sit here and drink for a little while. We're gonna chillax for a minute. Now we can go back into it. Now I remember to send Rapture in. Go Rapture. Go fight all the things. And there's another nice aim shot crit. Around this time I'm getting sure-footed, but after sure-footed after sure-footed we'll have access to Killer Instinct very, very soon. Another 3% crit for a total of 8% between lethal shots and the survival talent, Killer Instinct. And then you get lightning reflexes, and that's crazy crit. You get you get a decent amount from that. It is a buff to your crit, and it's also a buff to your AP. So, the survival talents combined with high tier survival talents combined with low tier MM means very, very high crit chance purely from talents. So, it's certainly a fun spec to do. At least for PvP. Where you really, really, really want to crit on people. Because, well, your crits will hit very hard, and in PvP, burst damage is extremely valuable. And we have a lot of it, especially if we crit. So, for a PvP spec, it is a lot of fun. We're almost done with the graves, actually. We only have this little wall left, so let's go help out. Let's pull a few more into here. Drop an explosive trap. Go ahead and see if we can get another Bladestorm proc. I'm gonna put a aspect to the monkey because I did take a little bit of aggro here. But it seems Flag has it now. I'm not gonna switch back to Hawk though, there's no point. I'm just gonna keep Raptor Striking, Wing Clipping away. We're almost to the mobs here. We did get a Crusader proc, but no Bladestorm, unfortunately. And again, I'm forgetting to use multi-shot. We need to keep it on cooldown during a while attempting for the Bladestorm. I do remember to move out with only one target left at least. Now we can sit to drink once again. I think this might be the last bit of graves that we clear. And I guess they do a little something with their increased damage taken from all sources. That can certainly hurt if there are a lot of them. Let's get some more in here though. There we go, that's more like it. Explosive trap, but nope, we gotta resist there. We can pop a sapper charge though, and that's certainly gonna serve us very well. Our mage is also going at it with his own explosive damage. And here I go with the dragon gun, since I did get bad luck. There are other things you could do to offset bad luck. Besides always keeping multi-shot on cooldown. You always want to, well, if you get bad luck, you put yourself up some dragon gun, use an explosive trap, you even step out and volley, if there are enough targets. Volley is pretty poor damage, but with enough targets it can certainly add up. With enough targets it makes up for something. But you never want to really use volley unless you put multi-shot on cooldown first, because multi-shot is just that valuable. Even if there are a ton of targets, you know? That's why my cast sequence back for an official classic will switch back to multi-shot if you waste 3 seconds before using volley. Not worth it at that point. There are only a few graves left, and then we can move on to the boss. I've put my Ravager on once again, but there are still enough targets here. Oh, there are a few going away. Let's switch to them and use multi-shot. You should always put auto shot on cooldown before using it if you can help it. And there we go. We got a nice Bladestorm here. And as you can see, I just dropped an explosive trap during Bladestorm, and that's how it was broken on Kronos. That's why I originally thought it was so good. And it still is, for reasons that are intrinsic of our class, which I've explained in prior videos. But it was absolutely broken here, in a way that I absolutely loved. It was a lot of fun here. I do like it more in Official Classic though, simply because of how it can chain proc, and you do need to be more preemptive with, say, your explosive traps or something like that. We're gonna step out or jump out, and go for the multi-shot as soon as it's off cooldown. And we boop this boy before finishing up the last 2 graves. I'm gonna drink though, I might as well. And this time I do remember to send Rapture in while I sit down and drink. There's only 1 grave left, so we're gonna go take care of it in a moment. First, this skull and cross need to go down. Aim shot, auto, multi? Okay, auto, multi, and no auto because I was late on that multi. Well, it's whatever. At that point we could have stopped with the multi-shot entirely just to let our mana regenerate a little bit more, but of course I'm not playing around my mana regeneration at this particular time. There's a nice auto shot crit. There's that at least. So one thing I do like about my old UI was the, well, not necessarily the text, but the sound of a crit. The sound of a crit was very, very nice. Here we go. We're finally on the boss, the Witch Doctor boy, with a chest next to him that is, for some reason, always empty. I remember to use Rapid Fire, which I really should be using during a grind anyway. But on bosses, I always remember to use it. This guy likes to summon some ads, and I think he also summons zombies if they're up. All the zombies will run to him. But otherwise, he's very easy on his own. Yeah, that's probably why we clear out the zombies, because sometimes they come up out of the graves on their own. If we pull this boy. He's dead now, though. And not that we couldn't have handled it, but I guess we wanted to do a nice long grind. And indeed, what's wrong with a nice long grind? There are 3 targets here. Lovely. So I'm just gonna scare that beast. Actually using scare beast for once. And now we can go into some ranged attacks for once. Gonna switch back to Hawk since I am at range here. We can cast our aim shot on this one, but we did have aggro for a moment, so it was pushed back. Now would be the ideal time to use some multi-shot, but I move over here first. It would have come off cooldown sooner if I used it over there, but I decided to go over here anyway. And since there are only 2 targets, and since they were spread out, I stuck to range, which was the better idea to do. Now I'm going to switch to my Ravager for no reason whatsoever, and I just got stunned. So I'm just going to stand here for a minute. There we go. Now, the Pyramid event is one of my favorite events in the game, actually. It's full of mobs. You fight them off wave by wave. You fight your way down the stairs. And you can do some crazy big pulls with the Pyramid event. So we're going to see what we can do. No matter what time this is, I've always been a risky player. I always love to take risks and mess with things. Those were some lovely multi-shot crits right there. I don't think multi-shot is glitched on Kronos where every single hit would crit. But sometimes they can, by coincidence, crit like that. There's only 1 target, so I'm only going into melee weave. And now we can move on to the next targets. We're gonna fight our way around these mobs this way. This is pretty barren compared to the other side of that set piece in the center of this area. And we're gonna get up to the pyramid. We're gonna see about the event, which unfortunately on private servers is one of the most glitched things. I hope on official classic it actually does work. But on private servers, it was glitched to heck. You know what I mean? Absolutely broken in a lot of ways. Sometimes mobs would evade. Sometimes the door wouldn't open. I had to answer quite a few tickets as a game master where the group could not progress in the dungeon because, say, the Oldemon thing wouldn't summon the right thing, or the Zul'Farrak pyramid event did not open the door. For some reason. The devs never quite got on it, but we GMs were always attentive. Always attended to those tickets, or at least I was. I tried to be. Whenever I was around, I checked tickets that would appear new. The new tickets. And we would go ahead and help those groups out. We are going to clear out these 3 anyway, just because they're kind of close to the event. We don't really want to risk pulling a few elites, while all the non-elites are going to be AoE down. So it's always a good idea. It was a lovely little Raptor Strike crit. I could have used that totem as a multi-shot target, but I have Rapture take care of it anyway, or rather instead. And we can go into a Bladestorm. The Bladestorm has worn off, so I'm going to see about stepping out and going back to ranged. Also because we only have 1 target left, so there's no point to sticking in there. You know, I remembered myself being much more bad, but I guess I'm still decent at this time. I'm decent, but to really excel, you gotta, you know, there are a lot of minuscule things, managing your mana and all that stuff. For the ultra mega chain pulling and all that junk. There's the Executioner who drops his key and all that. Then we can use it to let the guys out. That goblin over there is the guy who will let us go ahead and open the door. Once this event is over, we use him. We ask him to do us the favor and open the door. You saw that for a split second. There were a ton of mobs down there. Here we go. They're going to start coming up our way. And let's see about pulling a whole bunch of them. Why not? There we go. That's more like it. I'm going to use a sapper charge right here. And a goblin dragon gun. Because we can. I love this event. It's an excuse to AoE pull everything. We do have a mage, so we could probably do more stuff. We could do more like that. And I'm using a frost trap too, so that's certainly going to keep our mage alive. Even if she does pull a lot of aggro. But no, we're just going to pull a few extra at a time. Other than the ones that pull on their own, that run up on their own. I think the boss is actually down there already. Is he down there? That's one of the ways in which it can be glitched sometimes. And I remember being in a run or two where we actually got the boss along with everything else. And that was chaotic. But fun. Chaotic but fun. That's my style, you know? You know, we swapped to the Harkonnen soundtrack from Emperor Battle for Dune, and that was actually done by a different composer. David Arkenstone did this soundtrack, and then Jared Mendelsohn did the Ordo soundtrack. I think all the tracks in the game are really cool. And I think it's especially cool that they used a different composer for every faction, because it really sets each one apart in style, you know? I think it was a really cool choice, and each soundtrack is perfectly suited on its own for some fun elsewhere. Like in this sort of video. The Harkonnen soundtrack is probably my favorite. I think David Arkenstone absolutely stole the show. It's industrial metal for a very heavy metal faction. You know what I mean? All the mobs are just about dead down there. So it's about time that we went down, unless the second wave spawns all at once. They might. They might. Private servers are weird. I think on Light's Hope they all spawn at once, and here they kind of only spawned once? Maybe it's how that works. Let's see, where do we go right here? We've got a couple more guys to finish off right here. But once these guys are dead, let's see. Ah, I got a book. Huh. That's pretty funny. Ah, there they are. They all spawn at once here. That's what we were waiting for. And surely we can do another large pull, get a whole bunch more. Coming up, boys. I got an explosive trap, yeah. And there we go. A good explosive trap. This is not the kind of area you can really expect a Bladestorm in, because things are supposed to die very quickly. But that's what we have explosive trap for, that's what you have sapper charges for. And no matter what, it's still fun. Bladestorms are difficult to fit in, you know? We've got to use them on regular elite pulls, but those can't be too big, or the group may be overwhelmed. At least until we get a completely reckless tank like the one we had in BRD. We actually, during the Blackrock Depths run, we all got drunk IRL, and the tank had to be the drunkest of us all. We went in there and did like three packs per pull. We had a Frost Mage and AoE farming spec, we had a combat rogue, we had me. The tank was also an engineer, so I shared some bombs with him. It was a riot. I can't wait to show you guys that run. But here in Zul'Farrak, we are still chain pulling very well enough, to the best of our ability. And we're certainly just about done with this whole section here, this whole event. You know, a friend of mine told me a story once where there was an epic that dropped off one of these mobs. And this was actually in original vanilla, not on any private server. There was an epic that dropped off one of these mobs, but the mobs despawned so quickly that the epic vanished while they were still deciding what to do with it. So that was I think it was the Ardent Custodian. It's a real pity, but it's a funny story about this event in vanilla, and I guess it's why a lot of folks may hate it. Now, there's a There's way too much stuff, and there's well, if you don't bring someone who can AoE, you're kind of hacked, aren't you? That boss went down pretty quickly, but his assistant sure is stronger. So, oh well, he's going down just as easily enough. That's a nice little pole arm. Let me just talk to that goblin fellow, and we'll start this next boss as soon as we can talk to him. And I believe the square is the rogue, the X is the warlock, and the skull is the healer. So we gotta take out that healer first. I leave a trap right under her. I've got 2 of them on me, but I can use Feign Death to keep them off. No rapid fire today, but there are 3 mobs over there. I probably should have used multi-shot on those 3 over there instead of on that healer, but I guess it works out well enough. We can use a Bladestorm here and a sapper charge. That was a lovely Bladestorm proc. And a Goblin Dragon Gun, since we might as well. There are only 2 targets now. So, well, I guess we could stay in melee for a moment longer. There we go. Now I'm running out. I'm using my ranged attacks. Now we can go back into pure ranged with the ranged weapon, Grimlock's Charge from Uldaman, on this here boss. I like this fight too. You know, they help you out on the pyramid event, and then you got to fight them. It's like a 5v5. I mean, well, it might have been a 5v5 if the goblins stuck around, but nope. It's a 4v5. Pretty unfair, but that's NPC life. Players just hit way harder than you, and you can't do anything about it. Right, that about wraps up this fight, and the door is open, but we're not going to go through it just yet. We're going to go kill that Gazrilla boy, the big hydra boy. You know the one. One of us has the mallet to ring the gong. I think I get mine a little bit later. But for now, we do have a mallet to work with. And there's also another boss this way, who is also for another quest. So let's keep going this way. They're also the largest packs in the instance here. There are some packs of like 5 elites, at least on this private server. You know, some polls have been quite different in Official Classic. Here's the boss, by the way. She does patrol around the pool. Can grab her easily from right there. And I should probably put my ranged weapon back on. But it's a tad late for that. She goes down very, very fast. We do have some other mobs to clear out before we attack the boss, though. Some more mobs for Troll Juju, I believe. I don't remember what we were doing here. I did get that scatter on that scarab there. Oh, but I'm still pushed back anyway. Let me Feign Death and Freezing Trap it. A little bit late, but not unfashionably so, since Flag was still able to charge it, and we got it dead. Now there's a large pull right over there. There's a large pull over there, but we're not going to pull it just yet. Instead, we're gonna navigate around it. We're gonna clear out the area around Gazrilla, or where he spawns. He does a really nasty knock-up, so it's ideal to tank him, say, right next to a wall. So you stand under it, you don't get really knocked up. You just get knocked for a moment, an instant even, and then you leave. Also, you may have noticed, but I am unable to mouse over cast on things on Kronos. I mean, it does kind of exist in the macro API, but it's also really complicated. So it's hard to properly implement, you know? That's one of the official classic AI, or rather API pluses. It's very easy to access mouse over overrides and other neat stuff like that. So, I suppose that is one thing that I do like more about the official classic API. The original classic API, though, that sort of thing can, you know, you can cast Viper or Scorpion Sting depending on the class of your target, that kind of thing. But it was very powerful. It was a very powerful API, so obviously they had to change it. I don't mind. I'm not too torn up over it. We adapt. We're hunters. We figure out a new way to do things. Even if some of the old ways were pretty fun. Were pretty useful. I should have probably dropped an explosive trap there, but I did want to get out for the multi-shot real quick. Now that there are a few targets left, I can go back in and try for the Bladestorm. Which perhaps I could have done a little bit earlier. I mean, the more targets the better. But perhaps getting rid of a few targets, or a couple of targets, immediately was better for the group, since it reduces the danger to our tank. AoEing them down all at once, splitting the DPS doesn't necessarily do our healer any favors. Not that he's having any trouble with his mana over there. He's certainly keeping his mana A-okay, steady, perfectly steady. At very, very high. Above half, at least. Ah, there we go. There's another green. You know what, we're going to clear a little bit more before we go in and finish the boss. We just got a patrol. So, we're going to have to, well, we're going to have to group them all up and try and Bladestorm them this time. No explosive trap that time, that was a resist. But if I feel inclined, I can do a sapper. And I probably should use a multi-shot on that target right over there, because that was the perfect position for a dead zone shot. I did not think of it at the time. Because, like I said, I was new at this time. Here, I can use a multi-shot. Because they left the Bladestorm range. And maybe I can get another explosive trap. Or maybe I can try again for an explosive trap, because Feign Death is off cooldown. But I decided instead to step out, multi-shot, auto-shot, and then go back in. I do remember half the time, I suppose. I remember half the time to step out, multi-shot, before we go back in. Now there's only one target left. Or so. Yeah, now there's only one target left. So we can stay out and purely range. We're gonna drink right here, while Flag goes ahead and gathers up a few more ads. We got 3 here, so that's a good number. And I do remember to send Rapture. That one is polymorphed, but he's out of the Bladestorm and out of the explosive trap. Right here would have been an ideal time to use multi-shot once again, because it's just outside of the range and we can use it during Bladestorm. But again, I don't think of it. Nope, that one's on our priest. I have to drop target for a second to target it and scatter it. And you see, that's exactly where the scatter mouse over is so useful in Official Classic, and I love that. I love how useful it is. Because targeting other stuff manually in order to CC it is pretty aids. Again, I think it does exist in the API, the Official Classic API, or rather the original Classic API. But it is kind of a hassle. I've never really bothered with it. It's a very long and complex function, you know? Also, we are about to summon Gazrilla. There he is. Here he goes, having a seizure up the way. We can't let him stick around for too long. Otherwise, on private servers, sometimes he would spawn and then go heck off into the mountain somewhere, and he would never show up again. So that was pretty weird. Here Flag goes, tanking it where he won't be knocked up so high. So we can stand over here, use our rapid fire, and shoot away at him. Also, for some reason, our pet can't be knocked around, so our pet will be able to just stand there and keep clawing away at him, despite other friends, like our rogue, being knocked up somewhere. Oh yeah, I actually am rolling without Growl too on this Broken Tooth. I leveled without it on Kronos. For some reason, I decided, Growl, heck it. It was, it worked out well enough, I suppose. I did hit 60. But I do like having the precision aggro, the ability to use it for precision aggro. There were some moments in episode 23 where we would stop a mob just before us, just before the dead zone, in order to aim shot. Anyway, now that we're done with the side passages, we can go ahead and start clearing out the way to the final boss, who can drop a couple of rare swords that can combine to form an epic sword, which a lot of melee like to farm up in here. I don't know how good it is, but it must be pretty good if the melee are doing some farming for it. I guess we'll see, right? We'll see what drops. We do have the luck of the Ravager with us, whether I know it or not. And sometimes that could be good luck, sometimes that could be bad luck. It all depends on what RNG whims. On RNG's whims. Oh no, I'm hexed. Ribbit. 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 Angry ribbits. I'm trying to DPS here and I'm CC'd. Oh, this is neat. There are a couple of ads around the corner that are pretty nasty, but we're gonna get all of them. Cause I wanna do a one major AoE pull before we call it here. Now right here, I believe I go right into wing-equip spam without actually equipping the Ravager. It's an obvious and silly mistake, but it's a mistake that I fixed by macroing rank 1 wing-equip to my equip Ravager key in Official Classic. So at the same time as we equip the Ravager, we also use that key to spam rank 1 wing-equip, and that's the way to do it. You can see I'm still spamming away here in melee. I was able to get some damage through an explosive trap and a sapper charge, but obviously forgetting to equip the Ravager is an incredible mistake, and I apologize for the lack of Bladestorms here on account of that silly mistake. I think I might have been stunned when I tried to equip it, and I didn't realize. But in any case, I've decided heck RNG right now. I'm just going to use the Goblin Dragon Gun because I don't want a chance getting a Bladestorm when they're so low on HP. Now that all these guys are dead, we can go ahead and well, re-equip our ranged weapon first, and then go ahead and attack the bosses. And this will wrap up this here run. Go on, Flag. Don't be shy. Don't mind if I'm drinking. I'll get up quick enough. Oh, I guess my rapid fire could be off cooldown very soon. But it's no problem. We'll still have our aim shots, our multi-shots to fire off. And as long as we keep firing our shots, it doesn't really matter if we have a little bit more haste on them. I was unable to drop a trap on the boss there, unfortunately. But that's fine. The boss is dead anyway, and we can go ahead and kill his friend, his assistant, who for some reason is pretty beefy, just like the one down at the pyramid event. Actually, no, wait, we just killed the assistant first, didn't we? Yeah, that was his assistant, and this guy's the High King. The king of the sand people. Sand people noises. And it looks like the shoulders dropped, so, well, that's not ideal, but it is something, I suppose. Anyway, that wraps up this run through ZF. I like the new style of editing better, but it was good to revisit this old style and pick apart some mistakes. I'll see what I can do to keep going on Official Classic, but for now, I hope you enjoyed this run. If you did, please show it by dropping a like down below. Share this one too, since the more the merrier. If you haven't already, please subscribe and click that bell icon so you never miss another upload. I love bringing new content to you guys, so I hope you love seeing it too. Feel free to check the description for a skip list and other links, and as always, I will see you in the next one. Bye bye!